Hello to all our S2 parents and carers. My name is Mr. Cowie and I'm the Deputy Head Teacher responsible for the curriculum. I'd like to welcome you to this 2023 presentation and trust this will clarify the support that is available to all our S2 as we prepare next year's timetable. In previous years, the whole process has been an extra challenge, what with the disruption to schools and the lack of assemblies. This year, I'm delighted to say that young people will be in school so we can offer that reassuring face-to-face support when required. Indeed, a theme throughout this presentation is a reminder that your child's principal teacher of guidance is your first point of contact and will be on hand to support the whole process. I will try and keep the audio to a minimum and elaborate on a few of the main points once you've had a chance to pause and digest some of the information. I hope you find this useful in advance of the parents' evenings and receiving the Google preference form in due course. Regarding aims of this presentation, there are a few things here for you to peruse. However, I can imagine it's the practicalities about going through making the preferences that's most important. I've also included some information about the S3 into S4 options process next year because it's always wise to think ahead. And finally, covering the aims, there's a summary slide at the end giving you all the key dates and things that will be happening over the coming weeks. First up, we have a summary of our curriculum rationale. I would like to pick up on the part about being ready to review our practice, as I've had many conversations with principal teachers and senior pupils this session. S5 and S6 were only too happy to reflect on the arrangement of study and wider achievement, and the Parent Council have kindly offered some feedback on the options process last year. Nationally, in Scotland, young people can be in school education from age 3 to 18. In senior school, there are two main parts. Here, I confirm that S1 to S3 is what we call the Broad General Education, or BGE, and this is preparation for S4 to S6, which we call the senior phase, where pupils take their national qualifications. This can be quite a busy schematic, detailing what pupils do in every year group. For the purposes of this audience, new S3 will do 8 subjects where they personalise within the curricular areas. And of course, more on this to come. New S4 will choose 7 national courses. New S5 will choose a minimum of 5 national courses with some wider achievement in study, and similarly, S6 will choose more than 4 national courses. More detail on this to come for parents of respective year groups. I will leave this slide with you, but more information on how qualifications have changed over the years. Personally, I just missed out on doing O grades, but from there we've gone to standard grades, to intermediates, and now the new national qualifications. The big difference is that National 4 learners get the opportunity to pass assessments in school, whereas there is normally an external exam for National 5 and above. At the time of recording, SQA exams are due to return after 2 years of cancellation. Here we look at progression through the qualifications, just confirming that pupils being successful at one level can then progress to the next level. While this looks straightforward, there is sometimes a big step up and challenge for pupils. Many achieve this progression in school, and some return to experience this success at further education or on-the-job training. As I have said, it is always sensible to think ahead and plan your learning for the coming years. I am pleased to signpost some work our principal teachers faculty have been doing to illustrate the skills, opportunities and career paths that will be accessible if you choose their subjects. More information of each of these will be available in due course, but here's a snapshot of what success can look like in the technical faculty. Regarding support for S2, there are a series of planned events that will help pupils to identify which subjects in each curricular area they'd prefer to focus on next year. Already they will be learning about different subjects in PSE and talking to class teachers about different pathways through each faculty. On the week beginning the 23rd of January, they will receive the reports which will indicate their progress to date and personal strengths. From the 30th of January, all pupils will have a one-to-one meeting with their Principal Teacher of Guidance, their PTG. There, they will be able to ask any questions. Similarly, this coincides with our virtual parents' evenings, so parents and carers can seek advice from their teaching staff. Thereafter, PTGs will arrange to collect final preferences through the Google Classroom. Getting into some of the detail then, I've listed things to consider when going through these processes. Many teenagers will have little idea of future careers, and I will reiterate the advice of their PTGs to keep your options open with a range of different subjects. It is important to prioritise what you're good at and what you enjoy. It is wise to think about what you would like qualifications in further up the school. I will also share a little bit of information about the options process from S3 into S4 to help with that thinking ahead. So, in S2, what personalisation can you make to your S3 timetable? In PSE lessons, it will be explained that pupils can make one preference in each of the curricular areas and prioritise one extra from the area they like best. When making each of their preferences, it is important that they must choose a reserve. In S3, all pupils will study maths, English and a modern foreign language. Also, they will prioritise a science, a social studies, an expressive art and a technology. They finish personalising their broad general education by indicating an 8th choice from any of the curricular areas. For those pupils who already have a bespoke timetable and perhaps attend additional support for learning, this provision can continue. Please pause and take a look at the list. Next, I will explain briefly what happens next year to emphasise pupils should be prioritising subjects that they want to pursue in senior phase. This time next year, when you are finishing S3, pupils will refine their 8 subjects and study 7 in more depth. All will continue with maths and English and most a foreign language. During this process, pupils will have more of a free choice, but must choose one subject from each column. The columns are arranged so pupils can continue with their S3 subjects. On the slide is an example and just some of the subjects that make up each of the columns. The deadline for completing the S2 preference process is the 18th of February. In the run-up to that date, pupils will have done a paper exercise with their guidance teacher. Here I include a little bit more information about the Google form that will be submitted. Pupils will access this securely through their PSE Google Classroom. This is really easy to use and parents carers can check what pupils have entered. This replicates the paper process in PSE. From the screenshot, you will see they enter a preferred and reserved choice for each curricular area. On this slide, I've grabbed a screenshot of one of the last parts of the form. This is where pupils, once they've made all their preferences, will put them in rank order and tell me what's an absolute priority for them. Sometime later, during PSE, pupils will see their new subjects. Only at this time can there be discussion about making any tweaks. In this penultimate slide, I must confirm that for most pupils, the preference and course choice process is pain-free. However, some pupils will need support to prioritise subjects and make difficult decisions. With a finite number of staff and rooms, it is clear that not everyone can do technical or HE, for example. But thankfully, we're all individuals with different skills and interests. There are lots of constraints when making a timetable, but our pledge to you is that we're here to talk to you and we will find solutions together should there be any problems. For S2, it is easy to make the preferences and reserves in each curricular area. Within this, the form will let you highlight your most important subjects, so it's my priority to get you these subjects. For S2 parents and carers, that's it from me for now, but I will leave you with this summary slide. When you do sign off, I hope this has been helpful and will allow you to advise your child as well as ask any questions of your PTG or staff at the coming Parents' Evening. In the meantime, I hope you have a good morning, a good afternoon or a good evening whenever you get to this presentation, and good luck with the whole process.